help your people think like missionaries. If you don't have someone like that in your church, you need to get them exposed to somebody who's good at that. Because what will happen is the church will grow inward if it doesn't have this push in its equipping. Okay, and I don't necessarily believe it needs to happen in that every church has this in their own church. I believe this is I'd make a great case for why the churches need to work together in a city, because I'm convinced every city has what God wants them to have to equip the churches for the ministry, but we just got to learn how to work together. Okay? The prophet is the one who's saying, let's push down and listen backwards and forwards. Push down meaning God wants a people in a place to be a display people. Like all the prophets, if you read them, they were like, don't forget what God said and did. Don't forget why you're here. And don't forget what He's doing while you're here. Right? That's what the prophets do. So it's like, don't forget what He said and did. Don't forget why you're here. Don't forget what He's doing through you while you're here. So these will tend to be people who say, be holy. Be about justice and mercy. The place you're in should change because you're there. But you got to stay there long enough, right? Like this will be like the missional impulse of the church. This will be more the incarnational impulse of the church. Like they're in a place, staying long enough. My wife, by the way, is regularly going, why do we have to move? We didn't even finish the work yet. And I'm like, we got other places to go. We got more people to reach. And so we're a really good partnership because we live in that tension together, which is really good. I've stayed the longest ever in Tacoma in my entire life in a place. And that was largely because my wife wouldn't let me go. And I think that was a good thing. The evangelist is the one who's saying, hey, everybody come here. We've got some really good news you need to know about. So they tend to recruit people to the church, recruit people to Jesus. They're the ones calling out. This is great news everybody needs to know. And I'll tell you, when you have these kinds of people in your missional communities, or when they're getting equipped to do it, those become places that become fairly attractive for people to join. Kirby is in our missional community in Tacoma, and her family, she and Charlie are moving to join us in Redmond now. And anytime that she does something, like she's the one who led our CrossFit group. I hate CrossFit. I did CrossFit because of Kirby. Because she's got that, like, come do this kind of impulse. Like, you just go, okay, whatever. And all of a sudden, and what I told her, I said, here's the deal I've learned about you, Kirby, is God has gifted you as an evangelist for our group to train our people to really call people to Jesus. But in your fear, you don't call them to Jesus, you call them to CrossFit. You call them to good diets. You call them to all kinds of things. You're an incredible evangelist, but you're not calling them to Jesus. The thing I want to encourage you as you grow is to call them to Jesus, because God has gifted you to call people, and He will use your voice to equip our body to be more effective in reaching lost. And so sure enough, she started calling non-believers into things, and then she started sharing Jesus, and they've started to come to faith. And she really actually, this is the group that really was bad, and then Kirby started to be this for our group, and we got more evangelistic as a result because of her gift being used to equip the rest of us. And I believe God gave her to us for that purpose. Now, I'm an evangelist too, but my challenge is that if I'm an evangelist on a big scale. So a lot of times that's like calling the church to the mission. It's calling unbelievers to Christ, but a lot of times it's on a stage. I do it in everyday life too, but I'm not as present with moms as she was. And she actually raised the temperature of reaching lost moms in a way I couldn't, because that would probably have been a little inappropriate anyway if I was calling